I am live. It is 7:56 p.m. on Friday, February 6th. So here we are. I hope this is working properly since I'm going through YouTube and their video function, and it's supposed to set up a chat for me. So I hope that's going right. Anyway, I came on a little early just to see if anybody else had jumped in here. If so, type something in the chat for me. Let me see if you're here. Otherwise, I'll just wait for the next 4 minutes or 3 minutes or less until it's time to jump in. And yes, I am a little chilly, so I got my jacket on. No, 7:58. So I got less than 2 minutes. We'll see if anybody pops in here early or at all. After all, it is a Friday night. I imagine most people are doing something different, but if you're old, retired folks like me and you're bored and nothing else to do, sitting in front of your computer, maybe you'll get in here. Who knows? I just realized I forgot my water. I'll be right back. It shouldn't take long. Don't go anywhere. Okay, I'm back. I got my water bottle, so I'm good. 7:59, and it's less than a minute here. So, 8 o'clock. Okay, here we go. So it's Friday evening, February 6th. It's 8 o'clock. And I've just been sitting here today watching some videos. Had a chat with my BFF, as I am wont to do. We seem to talk several times a week, so covering a variety of topics. And I found myself today feeling a bit melancholy about things. You can choose whatever synonym you want for that. Sad, depressed, concerned. Uh, Aside from my usual stack of reading, and as you can see in here, right behind me is part of my library. The vast majority of the American history and American Civil War library is downstairs in what most people would call a living room. For me, it's a library. But up here, and I'll turn the camera so you can see this over here. Got a few more books, modern political science as well as historical. So I read quite a bit about American history. And I see and read about the people who helped to create this country, to found it, the principles upon which it was founded, the sacrifices that were and continue to be made to work with the government of the people, self government. It's by no sense perfect, but I don't know. I guess I would hope liberals in particular would appreciate this, since they recently had a bunch of rallies called No Kings, and they talk about how they don't like tyranny or fascism or tyrants, et cetera, et cetera. And yet it seems like everything they do and everyone they support seems to be, in fact, for tyranny, as long as it's their tyranny. And therein lies the problem. See, I'm not for tyranny from anybody. I don't want a Republican tyranny or a Democrat tyranny or libertarian tyranny or whatever the case may be. But we seem to find too many people that like to talk out of both sides of their mouth. I've also recently purchased a new smart TV, and while I'm not smart enough myself to know how to hook it up to my Wi-Fi, it does provide several different channels with a lot of older movies and TV shows and some documentary stuff. Been watching a lot of stuff about World War II, movies as well as documentaries. And I look at the sacrifices that were made by previous generations, and I can't help but think about how they must feel. And so, all right, let's see who just jumped in here. Karen, say, hey, Karen, how are you, sweetheart? And I think about those sacrifices, and I wonder if they're in your family, neighborhood, among your friends, if you know a World War II veteran who's still with us. I know most of them are moving on now, but if you know any, you might ask them, given the current state of affairs in our country, politically and otherwise, is this what you thought you were fighting for? Is this why you joined up and risked death and the sacrifices that you had to make? Do you think this is what freedom is that we see now, that especially here in Virginia? I mean, I'm not even going to go into the whole list of new taxes and new laws that the Democrats, the party of the people, want to pass. The party that was talking about making life more affordable. So what are we going to do? We're going to raise your taxes. Hell, we're going to tax things we've never taxed before. So that'll make life more affordable for you. But again, the melancholy comes in when I start thinking about why do people allow what they allow? What did previous generations think they were going to be fighting for? And I'll just use World War II as the most recent example. Um, we could talk about wars since World War II, but I think it's safe to say World War II, if you look beyond all the subterfuge that led up to that war and our part in it, probably the last war where real worldwide tyranny was at risk, and what we were fighting for to end that kind of tyranny. So look where we are now. Now, I'm while most of my commentary will be directed at the Democrats, the party of the working class bullshit, I'm not going to leave the Republicans out either. The Republicans should be ashamed of themselves, the bunch of cowards that they are. I'm seeing more of them now, more videos, more TikTok stuff on Facebook coming out of Republicans' mouths than I ever saw prior to last year's election. All of a sudden now they've decided they need to get involved. Oh, they're concerned now about the threat to our liberty and the threat to our government and the increase in taxes. It's going to be a threat to your pocketbook. Well, where the hell have they been in the past several years? Republicans are about as useless as tits on a boar hog. So I got no use for them anymore than I do Democrats. The only difference is Democrats I see as very dangerous in the immediate sense. The things that they advocate for, the things that they vote for, the laws that they want to see passed. There's nothing they won't pass a law for, especially if it's going to raise money for them. So, excuse me. I got a tickle. So, in watching these movies and reading the books that I have in my library, I keep scratching my head and wondering why people do what they do and why they believe what they believe. That's talking to my buddy tonight. He has something I don't have. He has grandchildren. So while I can be concerned for my two children, both of whom are adults and out on their own, doing their own thing now, if I had grandkids, I'm not sure how I'd feel right now. I would be angry beyond my ability to put into words. And I see what's going on in Minnesota and other similar places, although Minnesota seems to be the crux of it right now, and I think we all know why that is. As soon as we found out about the fraud that was going on up there using our tax dollars, all of a sudden, all hell seemed to break loose. Funny how that worked, huh? Have you heard anybody talking about the fraud up there lately? Nah, they're talking about the riots and the protests and people fighting ICE. All of a sudden, Tim Walz has gone off somewhere. I'm not going to run again. No, guess you are, Tim. You might wind up being in jail. If anybody in the Republican Party, if anybody in the Department of Justice had the balls to actually do something, that would be a nice change of pace. But I think we all know that's not going to happen. They'll use it for speeches. The Republicans will use it for fundraising. But at the end of the day, they're not going to do a damn thing about it. So Walz will get away with what he did. Ilhan Omar will get away with her part in it. Nothing's going to be done about it. So it's just going to be a lot of talking. They'll probably have some congressional hearings. I'm sure that'll be a lot of fun. And we'll get to see Hawley up there and Kennedy making their snide comments. And excuse me, and poking funs at Democrats and making them look like fools. But when it's all said and done, we will have once again wasted millions of dollars in taxpayer money on hearings that will accomplish nothing because no one will suffer any consequences. No accountability will be forthcoming. And so the Democrats who have been part of all of this are going to just sit back and go, well, shit, we can do this again. Why not? We didn't suffer for it the first 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So why shouldn't we just do it again? And of course, we won't see anything happen to them. So they will, in fact, do it again. And you and I, Mr. and Mrs. America, whether you're left or right, see, the thing that drives me nuts is the Democrat voters, liberals, you're getting screwed too. They're bending you over a log and not even using no lubricant and just screwing you too. But you just sit back and go, well, it's my party. It's okay. See, I guess that's the difference between you and me, Mr. and Mrs. Liberal, is if the Republican Party was doing that or the Libertarian Party was doing that, I'd be raising hell with them too. But your party does it, and it's like, well, no big deal. Because ultimately, all the money they're going to get from all this, they're going to spend on us. You still are so delusional, you think that they're really going to do something to help you. If you live in Virginia, prime example, tell me how taxing your dog walking is going to help you. Do you think any of the money they get from those taxes is going to come back to you? What are they going to buy you your dog some dog food? So again, you're not, the inability of the average Democrat to think things through to logical conclusions. Forget, even if you took history out of the picture, if you didn't look at the historical record and what we know they've done in the past, and you just went with recent history, what makes you think they're going to do anything to help you? They don't care about you any more than the Republican Party cares about its constituents. Again, we got an election coming up, midterms, not too long from now. Republicans, have you seen any new candidates popping up? Have you seen the party doing anything to get the vote out? Anything? No, the Democrats are. So say what you will about the Democrats. A bunch of idiots that they are. At least they step back. They get the vote out. Of course, I'm sure a lot of that's cheating too. But Floyd, there's no cheating in the voting. Yeah, tell that to all the low life and low key Democrat flunkies who've been arrested, charged, prosecuted, and convicted for voter fraud. Of course, you don't see the big names going down. It's just some poor flunky, like, local Chesterfield register, local Chesterfield aide at the voting station. They get thrown under the bus, but the people putting the money out there to make it happen, nothing happens to them. So while we're supposed to obey the law, we're supposed to believe in the law and in law enforcement, I want you to step back for a moment, view the big picture, and ask yourself, what's been done? What's going on? Who's enforcing the law? Is anybody being arrested, charged, prosecuted? Is anybody being held accountable in a sense, in a way that would make them think, well, others look at it and go, I better not do that. I might get in trouble. Anyone? I haven't seen it. Maybe you've seen something I haven't. I'll grant you, I'm not on every social media source, and I don't watch the evening news frequently at all because it makes me want to throw things at the TV. So tell me if you see something, post it in the comment section. Let me know what's going on out there. But back to the grandkids. You know, if I had grandkids, I don't know. I don't know how I'd react to all this because there's going to come a point where, despite protestations from both right and left about vigilante justice, we should let law enforcement handle this. We should follow the law, do the right thing. If nobody else is doing it, if the people who are responsible, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, for enforcing the laws and holding the lawbreakers accountable are not going to do it for whatever reason, whether it's political, financial, or they're just fucking cowards. If they're not going to do it, who is? And if I had grandkids and somebody was not going to take care of their safety and look out for them and prosecute people who would try to hurt them, I'm not sure I wouldn't step up and take care of things. We've seen it. I've got a video here I was just watching. Tucker Carlson was going over the Jeffrey Epstein files that were recently released, and all posted on my Facebook page, the U.S. Department of Justice Epstein Library. And I'm thinking, man, if somebody did that to my child, I don't know. They would need to have a whole lot of people keep me away. Because as an adult, especially as a parent, there's going to come a point when your life doesn't matter. Your child's life does. Now, my children, as I noted, are older. They're adults now. But even with them, you think, I don't want them to grow up in that kind of world. I don't want them thinking that this is normal behavior. I don't want them to get hurt if they have children later. I don't want their children to get hurt, even if I'm not around, even if I have shuffled off this mortal coil prior to that happening. I don't know how I would deal with the idea that my children still have to deal with that kind of evil. And that's the crux of it. That's the bottom line, is there is just so much fucking evil in this world. And whether you're of a religious persuasion or not, it's where it comes from, why it happens. We can have that discussion. That's a whole nother video for another time. But there is so much evil in this world. And there are people who are supporting that evil, even if unintentionally. Maybe they think they're doing the right thing. Maybe they think they're being tolerant and compassionate. And in the meantime, the people they're being tolerant and compassionate of and on the behalf of are in fact themselves evil. Sex traffickers. How many illegal aliens have to be arrested for illegal child sex trafficking? Well, that's redundant. It's not like you can have legal sex trafficking. Of sex trafficking children before people step back and go, wait a minute, I don't want to support that. That's not what I'm here to support. I thought we were talking about, people who just want to come here to America and live the American dream, even though right now, apparently, the American dream is stealing as much tax money as you can get your hands on, or allowing us to bring tons of illegal drugs into the country. Can you say fentanyl? Excuse me a minute. But how long before those who are protesting on behalf of said individuals, of the aliens that are coming here, immigrants, they like to call them immigrants, they're just looking for a better life. Well, really, if they're looking for a better life, explain to me then why they refuse to assimilate. Look up the word assimilation. Why are they not seeking to assimilate to become part of that country in which they hope to seek a better life? Why? Surely you know the answer. I mean, you're smarter than I am. You're smarter than we are, those of us who want to see illegal immigration stopped. Because we understand that when you allow people from a culture that is vastly different than your culture and does not have the same respect for laws and norms and culture that you do, it's not good for you or your country. Who's it? I can't remember the guy's name or where it was right now, but the illegal alien who had raped a 12-year-old girl. Well, I believe it may have been Minnesota. Anyway, rapes a 12-year-old girl, and then a letter is sent to the court on his behalf about why he should be granted some sort of clemency, receive better treatment, receive some tolerance and compassion because he's having to adjust to a new culture. Now, think about that. He came from Somalia, came here to America, rapes a 12-year-old girl. I'm starting to remember it now. He snatches her out of her backyard and rapes her in his car. But, and that's not because he's an evil piece of shit. It's because he's just having trouble adjusting to a new culture. Really? So if I were to travel to Somalia as a vacation hotspot and take a trip there, am I going to see Somalian grown men raping 10, 11, 12-year-old girls because that's just part of their culture? And if it is part of their culture, if perhaps I'm just ignorant of the ways of the world and the way other countries do things, do you want that culture here, Mr. and Mrs. America? Liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat, I don't care. Do you want that kind of culture here in your country? Are you really willing to be tolerant and compassionate of that? And what if it's your kid? I mean, it's really easy to be compassionate and tolerant when it's someone else's kid, especially someone you don't know. But what if it's your kid? Is it okay then? What if your 12-year-old daughter, Mr. and Mrs. Liberal? Some of you out there might have some kids. Some of you might have actually had kids who've lived through the birth process and you didn't kill them outright. What if your kid, your 12-year-old girl, gets raped? Maybe not murdered, maybe just raped. That's bad enough. But raped and murdered, as some of them have been. Is that okay? Should we be tolerant of that? Should we be understanding of that? Because, well, the guy, he came from a different culture and he's having trouble acclimating to this new culture. And so we should be understanding. Oh, that 12-year-old he raped and murdered, the parents will get over it. Yeah, I'm sure there's a government program for that. So, they just need to go fill out the right paperwork and ask for help from that government program. But I got so, I was really getting sad. I mean, I could see myself watching these documentaries. And I mean, it's not like there's that movie quality background music or the love interest or the things that you normally think of when you watch a movie that would make you sad. But I'm watching these things, and I find myself tearing up and thinking, is that what those guys fought for? Is that why they risked the privations and the hardships of war? Is that what they were willing to die for? To see what this country has become now? And you can, I'm sure, point out several other instances and issues on which one might ask that question. But again, why do we keep putting up with this? And Republican Party, where the hell are you? Stop talking and fucking do something. Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, get off your lazy, good for nothing, cowardly asses and do something. There are people out here breaking the laws. There are people out here hurting other people, and nothing is being done about it. Now, if I walked out of my front door and went down the street and I was every kid I saw, I just punched them in the head. Yeah, just because I'm in a bad mood and I need to hit somebody. So I punched some neighbor's kid in the head. If the neighbor doesn't take care of me, certainly I would hope they'd call the police. And if the police won't take care of me, then what do? Who do you turn to? Who are you going to turn to hold accountable those amongst us who are harming others? How much tolerance and compassion are you willing to show? And this is especially for the liberals out there. Who are you, Mr. and Mrs. Liberal? Are you telling me it's okay to rape your 12-year-old daughter, aunt, your niece, your granddaughter? Because, I mean, the poor guy that was doing it, he different culture. He's just having trouble getting used to this new culture. And you're going to take to the streets and protest against the people whose job, legitimately, legally, properly created, whose job is to apprehend and get rid of those people who are here illegally. Oh, but Floyd, not everybody here illegally is breaking the law. Well, if they got here illegally, you dumb shit, they already broke the law. You don't go into another country uninvited without following the proper procedures and then tell me, oh, he's not a lawbreaker. He didn't do anything wrong. He did something wrong simply by coming here. If you didn't follow the process, if you didn't follow the rules, you did it illegally, you shouldn't be here. Period. End of story. It's not hard to figure out. And I find this especially annoying coming from Democrats and liberals, the same people who for the past 3 or 4 years have been telling us, no kings, no kings. We don't want tyranny. These people are trying to destroy our democracy. You got to follow the law. No one is above the law. Remember that, Democrats? Remember, liberals? I remember. No one is above the law. Unless, of course, you're an illegal immigrant and you're stealing billions of dollars in tax money. See, that's another thing. Again, so when it comes to liberals, when it comes to Democrats, there's only a couple of conclusions you can come to. One, either you really are that stupid, and I mean legitimately low IQ, low information, just fucking stupid, or you just don't care. anything that benefits your party, no matter how it happens, no matter how it's done, no matter who does it. If it benefits your party and your agenda, it's okay. We'll let it slide. Those are the only two conclusions I can come to. Help me out, guys. Anybody listening? Anybody watching? Help me understand it. Tell me if there are any other conclusions I can come to. So the people you're out there taking to the streets to protect, to be compassionate and tolerant of, are A, here illegally. They did not follow the rules. They are here simply because a political party wants to use them, A, to launder money, and B, to get their votes. That's it. Don't think the Democrat Party, that Chuck Schumer and Ilhan Omar and that bunch give a single shit about these people and their type of life. They don't care as long as they can launder money through them or get their vote. And as for the laundering money, again, Democrats, liberals, you cannot possibly be that fucking stupid. The average Somalian has an IQ of 68. Now, I'm sure there are exceptions, but I said the average Somalian, IQ of 68. In the United States of America, the IQ at which one is considered retarded is 70. So if you're a white, purebred, a native-born American, and your IQ is at 70, you're considered mentally retarded. However, the Somalians have an average IQ of 68, 2 points below what is considered mentally retarded. And we're supposed to believe, and you, liberal Democrats, apparently believe, that those people who are below the standard for retarded were able to steal, to defraud the United States of billions, with a B, billions of dollars. Explain to me how that happened. Did they just get lucky? Is there one amongst them who is in fact a super genius and was able to figure out how this works? Or were they just being used as dupes by the Democrat Party so they could launder the money through them and make them look like the crooks, when in fact it was people like Tim Walz and Fry and so what the hell is the Attorney General's name in Minnesota? I can't think of his name now. But those guys had Ilhan Omar, of course. None of them had anything to do with it. It was just those below mentally retarded Somalians. They were the ones behind it. Come on, guys. Just stop it. You can't be that damn dumb. Now, tell me you just don't care because it benefits the Democrat Party. I can believe that. And hell, I would even respect that kind of honesty. Just tell me, tell us what we all know. Stop blowing smoke up my ass. All right. So anyway, I'm watching the clock here, and apparently time is flying by. So it's a Friday night, and I know you guys have things to do, or shit, if you just want to watch TV, that's fine too. But I just had to get that out there. How right now my state of mind is one of melancholy. I'm sad. I'm sad for the state of affairs in our country. I'm sad for anyone now who has young kids that they're trying to raise in this morass of evil. I'm sad that the people who have the responsibility, who have the job for holding these people accountable, are cowards and do nothing. They make speeches, they make commercials, they beg for money for the next campaign. But when it comes to actually enforcing the laws and putting people in jail, and I mean anyone, I don't care who you are. I don't care If you're in the Republican Party, Democrat Party, Libertarian Party, a politician, a worker in the party, who you are, I don't give a shit who you are. If you're evil, then you're just fucking evil and you need to be dealt with. And to those in law enforcement out there who might see this, if you're not going to do it, then guess who's going to have to? And if we have to do it, you might not like the way it gets done. And all these liberals out here talking about revolution and, we need to fight back, blah, blah, blah. Mr. and Mrs. Liberal, let me just tell you something. You can talk all the shit you want. You can make all the TikTok videos you want. You don't want that fight. There are a lot of people out here who would like to do some really bad things to you right now. So if that fight comes, if it ever does in fact come to pass, trust me, you really don't want that. And I may be an old fart at this point in my life. I may be on that downhill side of life. But don't think that there's no fight left in me. I may not be the guy I was when I was 30, but I'm not going to be a patsy either. So you better wake up. You better stop and think about what it is you're saying and what it is you're doing and what it is you're encouraging others to do. Because one day, talking's going to be done. And when the shit hits the fan, you're just going to have to trust me on this one. There are a lot of people out here waiting for that shit to hit the fan, knowing that the law enforcement's not going to do anything. There's not going to be anything between you and us. Nothing. So you might want to think about that for a minute too. Anyway, that's going to be all for tonight. I guess I've said about all I need to say. So have a good weekend. I'm gonna go try to cheer up a little bit here. I'll talk to you later.